only see the quarter of my face because of the screen that I have it on. All
Bonjour. What else can we got?
So close. Ooh, look, now there's 2 of us. All right.
Kinda.
You're over too far.
I'm over too far, and my USB stick is over there, so I'm going to be over too farther.
Yeah.
Just yank it. The Kimberbell teal one on the right.
All right. So, hopefully, I think we have everything connected today. The microphones are plugged in, and I think
Is this thing on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're dressed for spring because it's like I keep looking at my watch.
I think it's like 60 plus degrees outside, which means it's like coming up on 80 in this corner.
Probably. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm making that up.
Feels
But
like it, though.
thank God I wore a tank top. That's all I can say.
There we go.
My wheels got stopped. Said no farther.
Okay, so we have Kimberbell Blank today. It's March, and it's a super cute bunny.
It is there's two super
bunnies.
cute bunnies, which I
Yes.
didn't realize actually. I mean, I knew that, but I was in a hurry.
Right.
And I wasn't paying attention, and I downloaded 2 files, a crosshair file, which you will definitely want,
Mm-hmm.
and a bunny file.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stopped and ran. And then I sat down and went, hey, wait a minute. There's another one. So make sure that you are downloading all 3 files. You want the crosshair, depends on the top words is how it's describing it. So it's Cottontails and Bunny Trails are the 2 different bunny files that you're going to be looking for. So hello to everyone as you're popping in.
Yep.
Thank you again for popping in this afternoon instead of at 9 a.m. this morning.
Ah, Tony.
Run away, Tony. But save me one for later.
Oh, all right. So today, if you are going to be stitching along with us, pick one of your bunnies. We are going to be doing
the Cottontails on screen here.
Which is the taller bunny.
It is the taller bunny with it looks like green stitching kind of
he's
color.
Out of,
he does kind of look like he's pooping out an egg.
Yeah, on the screen.
That's interesting.
I guess
it won't look like that.
When the other one looks like that on the screen
it does,
too. It's
now
kind of
that
funny.
we mention it.
Now I'm never going to be able to look at this bag the same way. I'm so sorry. I've just ruined it for you all.
Okay, so I would just like to say the soap spit at you.
Yeah.
I have a hole in my lip. So I thought Mountain Dew would be a good thing to work with here.
Right.
But
wow. I don't know what happened to the day. I mean, I got here at 7 and it's 2:00 and we were scrambling to get stuff together. Oh my goodness. What a day. But we stitched out.
Okay, everybody breathe with us.
Right.
Okay. So part of the reason that we were scrambling is because we wanted to get half of the bag stitched for you prior to the video starting because we want to be able to show you how to actually at least start the putting it together after you get the stitching there. So how you're actually going to make it a busket instead of.
Yeah. I'm amazed that you can actually say busket with a straight face.
It's what's going on in my brain that y'all don't know. So, again, you're going to want to pull up. That's not going to work. 3. That one's not showing you anything, is it? 3 files off of that email. So the email that we sent out had all of the different file types. You need the 3, in our case, PES, but whatever you happen to be doing, you don't need to pull out all of them. So if you want to just click download on those 3, there's the crosshairs, the bunny trails, and cotton tails. Those are the 3 pieces that you need. So 2 bunnies and a crosshair. Not that we're shooting bunnies or anything in the crosshair. No, because that would be mean.
That would be mean. We all love bunnies.
We love bunnies. Yes. I have so many bunnies in my front yard. Thank God my dogs can't get in the front yard because there would be lots of not alive bunnies.
Yeah, and there's definitely some prep work to this.
There is a little bit of prep work. So I left it over there. Wasn't that smart of me? Can you reach?
I can.
Okay, so you've got your piece It is a little bit differently sized than the other bags. It's a little bit smaller in width. So you'll definitely notice a difference there. So you can see that I do have that way. Where am I going again? So we've got that cute little guy stitched. If you are just popping in because we're telling you how to do this, hi and welcome. If you are popping in because you're getting your kit from us, you actually have 3 color choices in your kit of the cuddle. So we've got a baby blue, a pretty light pink, and then a purple. That is the first one we chose. You will only need 2. You will have an extra piece, but it's just to give you guys a little bit of choice so that you can personalize what you've got going a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
it feels like people are either not pink people or not purple people. And
yeah.
I don't meet a lot of people who don't like pink and purple. Just
yeah, I love purple.
It's
not so crazy about pink.
So we gave you pink, purple, and teal.
So that way you have some plain
choices.
powder. Powder?
Plain
powder. Because who doesn't like to play with powder? There you go. It's gonna be a long afternoon. Wow.
So
okay. So
the instructions say to prep your bag, and there's a little bit of
I'm going to turn to the side that's not stitched so you guys can see.
Yes.
So we have our unstitched bag. You are going to do that. Did I stitch that on the wrong side? Rushing is never good. Okay. Take your time. Do it right. All right. So you're going to put right sides together. You're going to know that by your handles. So the inside of the bag has the seam in there. Just to make sure those are what you want on the outsides. And you are going to fold that in half and give it a press. You actually want a seam there so that you can see the line. You want to make sure that you are able to see that later on so that it's nice and clear. It is giving you a 3-inch measurement. So you're going to take this guy here and we're going to bend it down. I apologize. I'll get there.
This way. Just come towards me.
Know.
There we go.
There's this really fat cord on the floor and my wheels won't go. That's pretty soon I'm going to be like, whoa, right over all the way. Come towards me. Interlap. Here we go. All right. So we are going to go 3 inches down. I literally just took a cutting ruler from the cutting table over, put 3 inches, and then measured it so that I have
and
that.
It's 3 inches from the top of the bag.
3 inches down from that where your handles are at. Yep. All right. And then we're going to fold that. Make sure that you have a nice crosshair. Let me go this way. And then press again across the top. Leave it folded. All right. I did repeat on both sides just so that I don't have to run back to the ironing board, but you of course can do that individually because you're going to have to rehoop and all of that jazz. So Mountain Dew, excuse me.
And you're beating your microphone again.
I like to do that. Nobody said it was annoying. Okay, I'll try not to do that. All right, so we have a pressed piece. If I were to actually open this up, I would actually see that plus sign literally pressed into that fabric. But we're not going to open it up. We're going to leave it just like that. The first stitch that you want to add in is going to be the crosshair. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. If you have a machine that does not allow you to push the add button and combine designs, by all means, please feel free to just stitch that and then leave everything just as it is and then pull in the bunny afterwards. If you have the ability to combine them, hey, why not? That's one less thing that you have to do later. So go ahead and hit your add button and go back to your USB and pull in the second bunny or first bunny, depending upon where you're at. And we are going to do, again, the Cotton Trails bunny. So he's sitting up a little bit taller, if that helps in your visuals. All right. One thing that I would like to mention, the bum of the bunny is going to be at the top of the bag. So it's kind of upside down. And your brain is going to say you're doing it wrong. So look at it, make sure you're going the direction that you want. But when you open the bag up in the hoop, you want the bum of the bunny basically sitting towards the top of the bag, towards the handles.
Yep. So handles and butt near each other.
There you go. Because we all need butt handles.
We need handles on our butt, totally. We both looked at our butt.
Handles? What did they?
Love handles?
Love handles, yes. Kind of bunny love handles.
There you go.
There we go.
These are your love handles.
These are your bunny love handles.
Your bunny butt.
I gotta tell you, we make it interesting, right?
These people are like, just get on with it.
Just start sewing, for God's sake. All right. So that is the prep work. If you look, I also have I'm not sure how well you guys can see. There's a red line that is right here.
Yep.
All right. That is 6 inches. Yep. Perfect. 6 inches from my handle. All right. And that is done on both sides. That's going to be for sewing later. So again, you don't have to do all of those measurements
now
right out the get, but if it's more convenient for you, by all means, do whatever works for you. So if you see a red line, you wonder what the heck that's there for. It's for later on. My rulers are way
over there.
Far away.
Yes, they're far away.
This was just a way to make sure we had everything that we needed.
All right.
All right. So if
We're
you
gonna
can give that camera a go over there. I'm going to try to not knock over anything. That didn't work.
Nothing fell.
Nothing fell, just bumped a little bit, right? All right, so here we have the embroidery hoop. The instructions, and all you actually need is a 4x4. Can you get it?
Yep.
Okay. Is a 4x4. We decided to go ahead and use a 5x7 so that you have the ability to see what we're doing in the hoop a little bit easier. Because sometimes there's, when it's down in there and the hoop's in the way, we wanted to just make sure you guys could see super easy what we were doing, or at least as easy as possible. So this is a sticky, but it's a sticky tearaway. So we want to have the shiny paper side up and the rough paper side down. So what we're going to do is score that. We're going to go ahead, put that in the hoop, make sure your hoop is nice and tight so that nothing is shifting as you're stitching. I'm using a seam ripper. We don't want it to be a super big line because we don't want to cut through the stabilizer. So your best, sharpest pair of scissors is not what you want to use here. Seam rippers tend to work fairly decently. We're going to work an X and then use a fingernail or even that little bit of the seam ripper in there to get a piece up. And we are going to remove that topping piece. What that does is it releases and shows my sticky tearaway. So I just will get a nice big sticker and I am just removing the excess from around the outside. Sometimes you get a nice tear, sometimes not so much. All right. So I don't want to put anything in the hoop yet. So the first thing that we're going to do is actually it will stitch a crosshair for you. And what that's going to do is tell you where to place that. So we have our fold. And I'm going to do this now so that you guys can see it because it'll be under the hoop in a little bit, in a hot minute here. And it won't be quite as easy to see. So when I have my crosshair set up, I am going to basically take the corner and line it up with one corner of that piece, stick it in place, then I will open, stick that in place, and then open the other half and get everything stuck down nice and smoothly. So at this point, you're going to want to actually smooth out where those press lines are so you don't get a big ridge. You don't want that to be sewn into the project. So get a nice smooth press and get everything nice and even. Again, the first stitch is going to be a crosshair, which I recommend stitching in something that you can actually see. It's going to be underneath. It will be removed. You will not see that later on. So having it in a thread that you can actually see what's going on is a good idea. All right. This is where my hoop is going to be connected at the machine. Depending upon what you have, how you're placing that in there, as we said, the bunny's butt, we want to be over here. If when you put this in there and it's all lined up perfectly, your bunny's butt is over here, all we want you to do is simply hit the rotate button so that it will turn it. You don't have to rehoop everything. So again, we're going to line up with the center of that crosshair. Make sure that this is right tucked in, and then open and open again. So that is how we will actually be hooping the bag. So I'm going to go back to the machine now. Drag my cord from my microphone that I like to hit.
So I'm gonna just in case the camera gets bumped while she's putting the embroidery.
Yeah, will
the
not
hoop
make you
in.
nauseated.
Yeah, we're just gonna switch over to us for just a second. That'll also give us a chance to thread with our first color, so you don't just see our
Leave
hands.
that one right there, if you would like.
All right, and so we have the color that we want in the machine.
Because it's dark, you guys will be able to see it nice and clearly. So again, my first
Wrong one.
That's not the machine. But that's okay.
Okay.
It's a beautiful cabinet. So, you know, it's never bad to look at pretty cabinets,
No.
right? Okay. So here we have the hoop is in the machine. I am going to go ahead and stitch the first color. And all that's going to do, again, is that crosshair right in there. This is a sticky, so you will sometimes hear that popping from things sticking a little bit. It's not uncommon. Your machine's not going to blow up. It's okay. So if I look on my machine, my bunny's bum is over here on the screen. So this is where I want the actual bag pieces to be. So can I pass that to you?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go ahead and put that corner here so that when we open the bag, it will be with the bum on the handles. Bunny love handles.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so opened it the second half, and now the final piece, we're going to slide underneath the foot. And then again, just smooth that out so that you don't get any big bump from your pressing in there. All right, so the first thing that we have is going to be our bunny placement stitch. And the bunny placement stitch is going to be pretty much whatever color you want. It's going to get covered up. So somewhere that you can see, again, there's nothing wrong with that. So we can go ahead and do that in this darker color as well. I think we're going to do.
I was like, where did the fuzz go?
The fuzz. Hopefully they're not coming after us, right? We've been good today.
Maybe.
As far as they know. All right. So we did purple on one end, and I am, like I said, not that pink fan. So we are going to go ahead and use the tealy blue on this. So we want to completely cover up our bunny. All right. I think that color is going to be fine. Do you agree?
I agree.
All right. Then we have water soluble topping. Again, this is a topper. If you do not have topper, you technically can use actual water soluble stabilizer. But this is the recommended piece. It's a lot easier to work with because you can see through it, so you can know what's happening and whatnot. So we want to completely cover up our cuddle fabric with the water soluble. Water soluble is giving us that flat surface to actually stitch on, because cuddle fabric is not a super flat surface to stitch on.
No.
So that's going to give us that nice even field to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll help our stitches not get lost in the cuddle fabric.
Yep.
So what we have now is the tack down line for our bunny. In your instructions, there's this stuff they call tape that they recommend that you tape that down. I'm sure you guys that have been sewing with me for a little while now, I don't really use that stuff unless I absolutely have to. So we're just going to hold that water soluble topping down.
Don't you wish you had 3 hands?
Normally, I wouldn't need 3 hands, but I can't reach the other side from where I'm sitting.
We have the camera in a very
So,
interesting place.
There is our cute little bunny outline. And because this is a construction stitch, it's tacking that down. It's going to go around that twice so that we have a nice heavy stitch to hold everything in place. This cuddle fabric is super pretty and soft and nice, except it's not super pretty, soft, nice, fun to work with sometimes. It makes a really big mess. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you go to cut it, you're like, I know I cut it closer than that. It's got like multiple layers of fuzz. So I'm going to actually go back over. And if you would like to watch me trim, Sarah can flip that back. Now, in the instructions, I don't remember if it says to rip off the water soluble or not, but I did. Because otherwise it's in my way.
Yes.
And we don't want that.
What it tells you to actually leave the water soluble on until you get to the body detail on the inside, but
So
it definitely.
but on the outside, we're removing it.
Yes, you're removing it from the outside.
All right. Am I on film?
You are on film. It is
Okay.
upside down though, not that it matters.
Okay.
Bunny is he's sideways actually.
Bunny is gonna turn a little bit
That's
here
right.
as I work my way around. So don't get seasick as he's spinning in circles.
Yes.
So this is a tearaway topping. I'm gonna leave everything inside the bunny, but I don't need to cut this. I'm just gonna tear it away.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to tear towards the center of my design, and it kind of does all of the work for me. And I'm being slightly more careful than I probably would be at home, just so that you guys can see what it's doing. So literally we're going to just tug towards the center, and you can see it. It's literally tearing right at my stitch lines.
So
that one didn't go quite.
Trish has a tip for us. She says you can place clear box tape on the fabric before cutting, and it catches all of the fuzz.
Yeah, I don't have any of that.
Thanks, Trish.
But thank you. It is a great tip, and she is absolutely right. So as I said, this is kind of a multi-layered. So even when you're trimming, you might find that there is a little bit of extra that you thought you got rid of that you can just go back and give a little bit more to. So I'm going to cut into where I'm at here. So I'm going to get as close as I can. And again, Bunny's going to start spinning around here. So I am pushing the fabric up so that I can get as close to that stitch line. Of course, I don't want to cut the stitch line. And get nice and tight in there. As tight as I'm getting, there are still some fuzzies from that bottom layer that just want to hang out a little bit in there. You can rub with your finger a little bit and some of it will go away. Or you can just let it go and deal with it later.
So the other thing is the next stitch that we're going to do is going to be the decorative stitch that goes on around the outside of him. And it's not a satin stitch. It is like a candle wicking stitch. It's pretty decent size. So it will cover a variety of the stitch, but it definitely is not a giant satin stitch that's covering over top of that. So as you're cutting that, kind of like Lisa said, pay attention, you know, you're kind of thinking about the type of stitch that's going to go over top of that so that you make sure that you trim close enough to the stitch. Otherwise, you've got little random fuzzies, which might be cute. I mean, it's a bunny, right?
It's a bunny. They're fuzzy. The fuzzier, the cuter, right?
Yes.
We'll just go with that because there's going to be some random fuzzies. There's no way to work with this adorable fabric and not have a few random fuzzies.
So someone asked me the other day if you've done a Kimberbell project and you wonder why they tell you to iron, if you've used the glitter, if you're wondering why they're telling you to iron it afterwards. So the glitter is fusible. So it has a fusible backing on it. So you peel that clear plastic piece over top of it. And then you do that final fuse because that makes sure that once you're done stitching your project, it stays in place. So there is a little bit of fusible on there. So that is why they have that on the instructions.
So you can see I'm kind of brushing away the excess so that it won't get caught up in that stitch and then I can't get it out later.
Yep.
If you have a spot that has way too much, you can go back and kind of push up with the scissor to get off the excess fuzz there. There will be fuzz. There's no way to get 100% of that gone. So I've gotten as tight as I think I can get without cutting stitches, though I actually think I might have gotten a little happy on the bottom there, but that'll be okay.
I think you might be getting a text. The camera was vibrating.
Well, I would just like you to all know I have a very interesting set of photos coming from the Coach outlet. There is a sale.
It was funny, the whole phone, like the camera kind of went out of focus as the phone vibrated.
Gotcha. Yeah, my phone vibrates
hard.
It's got a pretty good vibration.
Yeah.
My husband says that's why I like it. Because I keep it in my pocket. But I think that's just, you know, silly.
Right.
Don't you think that's silly?
Yep. All right. So I'm
'Cause
gonna
I can't fit it in my front pocket.
Wow, we almost went flying.
Okay then. Okay.
No
There's your
employees
joke
were
for the
harmed.
day. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
No bunnies were harmed in the blowing up of
Everything.
everything.
All right.
All right. So the next stitch we have, like she said, is the candle wicking stitch. So she's going to pop back over and show you the screen there for the machine. I'm going to try to miss the hole in my lip. All right.
I feel like I moved the whole cabinet a little bit.
It did. Yep, you did.
Oh, there we go.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. We have kind of a little bit of a darker teal color, so you're actually going to see that outline. Which, as far as I am personally concerned, I think that that's nice because I think I just smacked my microphone again. I apologize. The stitches can get hidden in the fuzz.
Mm-hmm.
So even after we rip off the excess of the water soluble, you know, there's fuzz. So having a little bit of color is, I think, in this case, a good thing because that way you can actually see what's going on.
So coming up our stitches, the next thing that we're gonna do is the nose and the eyes. So we'll need our we're doing black for that.
You can do black.
All right.
I didn't do black on the other side, but it wasn't as dark as I would have liked. So yes, I would recommend either a really dark gray or go ahead and do the black.
And then after that he has a little collar. So
Yep.
We'll have to pick what color do we want his collar to be.
Yeah, let's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
One of these guys, I think.
I think well, you're not a big fan of pink. So
Here.
maybe the purple would be cuter.
Sure. I think we're going to do purple words. Do we want that, or do we want to have them be, when we get to that final spot there, we're going to do purple words. So if we want,
So pink it is.
so pink it is, yeah. So my little bit there, I pulled it out. It caught the fabric, but not the water soluble. But that's okay. If you see a little funky thing down there, that's what you're seeing is that water soluble that popped up just a little bit. So again, the next piece that is stitching on this guy, and it was the same on the other, is going to be a little dot or a little like half moon for the eye, and then the cute little bunny nose. So we are going ahead and threading with black thread. Going to try not to bump any cameras or move the entire, can you get it?
I think so.
Okay. Bonus. Teamwork, such a wonderful thing. All right, so nice little loop there.
We should have a trash can over here.
I have one on my side.
Do you?
I
Oh,
do.
yeah. Did you put it there? It wasn't there earlier. Was
I moved it because I kept throwing things. I was like, I need somewhere to put this stuff. Okay, so we just have a little, I think this side is more like a little bit of a line. The other side was more of a dot.
it? Yeah. And then he's got
and
a little
then
dot for his
a
nose.
little bunny nose.
Yeah, little bunny nose.
Yep. So once these guys are here, we have the collar, which I think has like a little flower on it. It's got a something on it. And not actually a ton of stitch time on any of these. The trimming and I should have gone back and done black on the other side. Oh well, it's done now. Okay, so now we have the collar.
And we are putting pretty in pink in here. That's not the color. That's just what I was saying. Everybody's gonna look for pretty.
Somebody that
now.
likes pink thinks it's pretty.
All right, can you push the button?
I can. Once I get my lunch out of my teeth.
Saving that for later.
I was evidently. All right, so again, we have this pretty pink. It's going to do the collar with just a little decorative front. I think it's actually supposed to be a little bow.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so after that, we have the little I think maybe that should match. You want it to match?
We can match. Let's match. Oh, that looks really sharp.
That is
Good
cute.
choice. It is actually pretty in pink.
Mm-hmm. And then
So we
there's
just got a little decorative piece here. So we're going to just go ahead and stitch that in place.
all
And
right.
we're going to leave that pink because why not?
And then we have our 3 eggs coming up. I do.
Okay, I was like, oh, where'd it go?
So do you want like maybe these two and this one separate? Or do you want them together? How do you want them?
Whichever one you grab. I don't care.
So we'll do that. So we'll do this one first.
Okay.
So
So you have a total of 6 2x2 squares of different colors of the glitter vinyls. So what you need to do to prep these is you need to remove that top plastic piece. You do not want to stitch that down. We decided on the side with the blue-ish green to use the pinks and the purples so that we are offsetting. So we didn't put pink or purple with these so that it wasn't too overwhelmingly colored, so that we have different colors. On the side that we have the purple, or if you have the pink, we have the blue and silver, other way.
I'm like, where are we?
Which direction? And then a light blue. So those are, we just kind of did the alternate colors so that it wasn't an overwhelming of any one color scheme on one side. So
Yep.
you can of course do it however you would like. We are first going to show the placement line for where that it's going to go. So it's going to stitch just a nice oval. What would we like the decorative color to be on top of purple? I think that would be really pretty.
I think so too.
All right, so just a tiny little circle. And as we said before, it kind of looks like an egg that was.
Yeah, he looks like, it kind of looks like he's
pooping
out the eggs.
Yep, just a little bit.
It's very interesting placement.
Well,
Poop happens.
had to go somewhere,
right?
But it does. I do have to admit, I really like the sweatshirt that's floating around this joint somewhere that says Pooh, as in Pooh Bear.
Yeah.
Happens. That's like one of my favorites. It's absolutely adorable. So these are just slightly oversized. So you can see the size of that oval and the size of my glitter. So if you would like to maintain that extra for something else, maybe a whole nother one of these, you could actually probably do 4 eggs of each color.
Probably.
And have plenty of leftovers there. So again, I am not taping or anything. I'm just holding that in there. If you hadn't already looked, there is a decorative stitch, not just the outline that is happening on these eggs. So when you are choosing a color, I do recommend that it gives a little bit of pop. Otherwise, you'll just the thread will just get kind of caught up inside of whatever that glitter is. It'll just be overwhelmed by it, and you won't actually see it. So that was a sticky little spot.
Yep, I think it's stuck on the first thread. All right.
So we've got our cute little guy here. The next one is actually going to go right next to it. So we are going to have to trim this before we can place egg number 2's fabric, or even put out that stitch line.
Yep.
So I am going to switch cameras here. She's already switched on screen for you. I just have to get there. And that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Do we have any scissors? Oh, or Sarah can rip it.
We are really close to running out of bobbin thread, so I'm going to go ahead and change that.
You do that while I'm doing this. I tell you what, team sewing, it's the bomb. It's like stuff magically happens while you're doing something else. It's really great.
It's camera magic.
It's camera magic. So we had a bobbin thread that just didn't want to let go there, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm actually going to put it in the trash can that I put right next to me, because God forbid I use the trash can. All right.
What color do we want on? I think let's do pink on our gold. Do you think that would be cute?
I think that sounds
stitching?
lovely.
All right.
So we got a little extra thread in there, actually.
That's what I thought. I thought it got stuck on that little extra piece, but
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Well, It's in there somewhere. Because just going to try to pull it out. That's better. All right. So you do want to get nice and tight in there. Whatever you are cutting here is going to be your end game. There is no stitch that's going to cover these edges. That decorative egg stitch there is what you get. So make sure that you are doing a nice job. One thing that sometimes happens that drives me crazy is if I get like a point. I don't like points. They stick out to me. So I try to make sure that I have a curve around all of those different spots there. So we've got our cute little sparkly egg. I wish my Easter eggs turned out this cute. They never did.
Looks like a little M&M on the screen. It's so tiny.
It is not large. We I think Hayden and I were commenting on that when we were cutting the pieces. We were like, those aren't very big eggs. All right. So at this point, we can go ahead and swap back as far as cameras go. We need about 6 hands this time around. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. We'll go back to that.
All right. So we're going to actually put this next egg right here. And we're going to use the gold.
Yep.
We're going to do gold. And we have a pretty pink thread in there that's going to pop right off there and be super cute. It's going to be cute in pink this time, not pretty in pink.
Right.
All right. So again, we're just going to set
Pink-alicious.
Pink-alicious, she says. All right. So we're going to go ahead, tack that down. It does go around the outside first, which is kind of nice because it did before. I think that's what it's going to do. Yep. All right. And now I can let go of it as it does its decorative stuff. At this point, it's actually going to, once we finish this, it's going to jump to the other side.
Maybe this one? Or do you think that's too dark? Go back.
What did we do on this one?
I think this
We did that one. Let's
Yeah.
not do that again. Let's do that one.
Okay.
And then we'll switch to this one. Yeah. So it's doing cute little circles that look like the jump stitches needed to be trimmed out of them. Yeah, I don't know how many times I read busket and I kept thinking that's a typo. And I kept looking at it. No. All right, so one last egg coming your way. We are going to go ahead and thread. We're going to use a little bit darker teal, which is the one we used originally on our bunny. Which technically this stitch isn't going to show. So if you haven't changed it yet, not the end of the world, but you're going to need to anyways. So might as well do it now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to go ahead and do the placement. Get our fuzz out of that little area above him. All right, and our last is we've got this adorable pink, just my total favorite color ever.
They can hear you.
I know. And we're gonna go ahead and tack that little guy down. And I don't have to stop and trim because they're far enough away from one another. I can do that after the fact, which is kind of nice. Helps a little bit with timing and how many times I have to take it in and out of the hoop. Got that all figured out?
I think I got most of it figured out, yes.
Fantastic. Last but not least, we have the words cottontails that are going to be stitched across the top of our bunny. And we do want to make sure that we have as much fuzz out of the way because if it stitches it down, you're not going to have an easy time getting that back out. This is just like a triple stitch. It's not a heavy satin stitch or anything. So it's going to, if you tried trimming, you'll probably end up actually getting rid of stitches that you want. Sorry about the hand. All right, so last but not least, it's going to stitch out. That looks threaded on the end. It's interesting. I think it's okay. At first, I thought the thread itself said split, but I think it's just from the knife. So I think we're good. So this is a 1 minute or less stitch color, and we are done embroidering.
Yes.
So if you are stitching along with us, you will need to repeat with bunny number 2, unless you don't like bunny number 2, and then you can certainly do the same die on both sides if you would like. So this is the finished of the embroidery aspect for this side once this stitches out. So it's actually a really nice stitch.
Yep. So once Lisa is done, when this is done, she's going to trim the last little bit of glitter off of this. And then I'm going to turn the machine over so that we have sewing features. And then we're going to talk about how you finish your bag, how you actually stitch it up.
I got through parts of it, but it looks like Sarah's maybe got through the rest.
Yeah, in a nutshell, it's not too difficult. So that line that you drew, that becomes the top of the bag. And so you'll press on that line.
Yep.
And then you're going to open it back up and like fold the handles up over top of the bunny. And then you're going to stitch the handles in place. And you're going to do that on both sides. And then, once you're done with that, then you're going to add the trim to the top and the bottom of the bag, which is the 2 tops.
Which is the bottoms in the big picture.
Yep, underneath the bunny butts. And then you're going to fold, then you're basically going to fold it in half and stitch up the sides.
Stitch up the sides.
And box your corners. So it really is not super difficult.
Isn't that nice? I just think whatever they use, their straight stitch letters always come out so nice.
They do come out really, really pretty.
You know, and that's not an always thing. So it's really nice that they do that so nicely. Okay, I am going to scooch around.
All right, and then I'm going to
and she's going to put the sewing foot and jazz on over there so that we can actually sew when I get back over there. All right, so I just have a couple pieces here that I need to get rid of my excess. You can again save some if you would like to reuse it, or maybe you absolutely hate one of the colors that we used and you want to reuse something. You certainly have enough. And I might not sure if I'm in view back there. Sorry.
Alice wants to know, so she says, can I change cottontails to different words? You certainly can. However, the design itself is not edible. Editable.
It's not edible.
So what you would have to do is you would have to use the lettering in your machine. You would have to add the letters like to the bottom of the design. So add that. And then once you get to the last stitch where it says cottontail, you would have to basically skip that forward, part and move on to where it is that wherever it is in the design that you put your letters. And then you could stitch whatever you want. Or you could just avoid putting the words if you wanted to. So you can definitely skip around a design and add and delete things in the sense because you have the ability to sort of skip threads. Unless you have fancy
That's what we're doing
software.
In embroidery club this month.
It is, yes. And that's what Lisa's going to be teaching in software club this month.
Software club.
Software club. Wow. Embroidery club. I was just going to say software. An embroidery club this month. And then what I was going to say is if you have fancy software, you could delete
you could certainly do it in there
out and add new words.
So what I'm doing here is I am snipping those crosshairs threads close to my design so that when I tear away, they like to go away instead of stay there. If I've missed any, it's super easy to grab them as I am tearing. So I'm going to go ahead, pop that right out of the hoop. My hoop aside because we don't need that anymore. And I'm going to just turn that to the back. So again, this is the sticky tearaway. So I'm literally just going to gently pull and go towards my design. And it looks like I didn't get all that snipping all the way through right there. Yes, I did. I just wasn't close enough last time. All right. You want to be gentle when you're doing this tearing. You don't want to pop, especially with those running stitch words. You don't want to pop any of those stitches. So just be nice and gentle as you're tearing away the excess. I like to put my finger on the design itself. I didn't get that crosshair over there, so it didn't want to come off. All right, and at this point, once we have all of this, we would want to go to our ironing board and pressing station, whatever you have set up, and put a pressing cloth over top and press so that these are permanently fused eggs. What can happen, and sometimes it's actually a nice design choice because the look is really cool, but you can actually get some puckering and kind of billowing inside of a glitter vinyl adhesive piece because it's not adhered on there. It actually looks really cool to do that if you are making like snow topped houses.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fuse it because the puckering looks like snowdrifts, which is actually kind of cool. So unless it's a design choice, you want to make sure that you fuse those down. You do not want to fuse directly on top of it. So make sure that you, and I'm just getting rid of some fuzz here so it looks a little bit prettier.
And I did change the needle. I went to a denim needle. That's pretty thick stitching
It is,
over top
especially when you're talking handles and the like.
Yeah. I don't believe so.
I'll just shake it off and see how that does.
All right.
Buzz Factory. All right, I think that's pretty good. Are you
almost?
still
I'm just
almost there?
getting
Okay.
the camera.
So sorry, there's nothing being shown at the moment. We are rearranging just a bit so you guys can see sewing stitches.
Trying to find a way that we can have be underneath here and they can actually see. So I think there you go. It's not perfect, but it's the best angle we can get.
All right. So you said this.
Mm-hmm. So actually, we're going to essentially do this
First
and pin
up
it
to
in
that
place.
line.
Yep.
Okay.
So there's some pins. Do you want to show them that part?
I can.
Underneath the camera. All right. So what Lisa's going to do here is she's going to go back to this thing and she's going to
going straight up.
straight up.
Pinning here.
Yep, pinning up to that line. So she's going to work on the handles and
then she's going to sew them in place.
yes.
So this is why we wanted their bum towards the handle, because we're actually going to turn the handles going the other direction, and it's going to come up straight here and straight here. It frames in what we've got going on, and then you have just little handles instead of these big bag handles. You have the basket size handles instead. So let me get my excess from falling off. Put the glasses back on so it's not all a big blur. All right, so I have my red line here. That is where we're going to be sewing up to. I want to fold the handles up here. Make sure that you're not tugging so that you get a big pucker. We want everything to lie nice and flat. And try to go straight. So I'm gonna have to turn this because I'm angled, so I can't see if I'm straight.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to keep everything easily camera visible, but can you see that?
They can. It's upside
Okay.
down, but they can definitely I think you can easily see what's going on. So
All
that
right.
should.
How many pins do you want?
I don't know, 3 or 4.
All right, so again, make sure that this part here isn't pulling so that everything will lie nice and flat as you work your way up.
Can you give me a foot pedal?
It's
I
little
definitely
things.
cannot sew
You
this
can't sew
without
them
a foot
without
pedal.
foot
No,
pedal.
I know, right? It'll surprise everybody to know that.
How fancy does the foot pedal have to
It
be?
doesn't. I don't care. I can do with a non-fancy foot pedal. That's all right. But I definitely can't use the start-stop button with this, I'm sure.
It's really funny. I never used to use a foot pedal because I couldn't drive it.
But that other foot pedal is so nice, isn't
But
it?
it never crossed my mind that it might be the quality of my foot pedal.
Right.
I just assumed it was the quality of me.
Right.
So I said, well,
I mean, how long was I here for? Like almost a year before anybody told me that there was another foot pedal, because they were not on.
because we never pulled them out.
We never pulled them out on the floor. So they weren't on the floor. So I was
No.
like, wait, what do you mean you have a foot pedal that
We
has
actually
like
have a real foot pedal
that has like a heel stop, all of the fancy things that I really wanted, and that's very controllable.
It's
So
very controllable.
yes,
It makes all of us who thought we couldn't drive really impressed with yourself, because it's like, oh, I really can do this.
Yeah, so in case you don't know what we're talking about, because we're kind of rambling while she's pinning, a lot of the machines, so basically any machine that has a button that allows it to go up,
Just do one.
we can just do one. That has a button that goes up and down for the foot. So not just the lever in the back. So those kind. There is like a fancy foot that you can get for your machine, and it controls the stitches.
It is much more receptive to your pressure
Yes,
on your
that's
on
the
the
right
foot
word.
pedal.
All right.
It literally, I didn't know what direction you were going. So
That's okay. So essentially, here's what we have this. You saw her pin this in place. Now, what the instructions want you to do is they want you to sew up to the top and then sew back down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew up to the top, and then I'm actually going to sew across and then down to the bottom, because I think that would be easier. Sure.
Do you have a knee lift so you don't care?
I don't. It doesn't matter. As long as the needle stops down, I'm good. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stitch. So if my hand is in your way, I do apologize. So I did put a denim needle in here because it's kind of thick.
So we have, the whole of the handle itself on top of the top of the bag.
Yep.
That has multiple layers. And then now we're on the whole handle piece, plus the bag itself. So
And
lots of layers.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing my best to try to stitch
right on top
on the previous stitch line. If you don't, it's no big deal.
And again, color choice of thread here is totally up to you. You can make it pop if you would like, and do a pink or mint green or whatever floats. And I think it was, you said, Alice, that was asking us questions about changing.
Yes.
This would be super cute with the child's name.
Mm-hmm.
If you're making baskets for people, or buskets, I guess.
Buskets. So funny.
It's too funny. But anyway, I think that would be a really cute thing to put in. How are we doing?
Good.
So we actually have, it's kind of an off-white thread. There's quite the knot there. I didn't do it. It's built into.
I can see it.
There is a really big bow on that handle right there.
Just gotta slow it down a little.
Just go a little bit slow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so one side is done.
Yep. And I would like to say that I'm going to do this quickly, but obviously it's not super quick.
So basically what we're doing here, guys, is we are changing the length of the handles, because we are changing where the actual top of the bag is. And so she is stitching right on the previous stitch line that was in the handle itself to the best of her ability. If you miss, don't worry about it. No biggie. It will, of course, show a little bit more if you decide to use a pop color instead of a blending color, but
big bump.
It is a huge bump on the ends of those. I don't know if it's ours or if that's just how they all are, but she's getting the needle over that and the foot to move over that piece is so notice she's going super slow, and that's because there is that nice big lift that she's trying to go over.
And the edge of this underneath here, it was like catching on the edge of my throat plate here, so that's what wasn't letting it come up.
Letting it move.
Yep, it was like getting caught right on there. So I stopped and just ever so slightly moved that out of my way.
Are we still straight?
I think so. Straightish, right?
It's, when you're trying to hurry, because people are watching you and you're literally rambling.
Right.
To, it's sometimes not what you expected it to.
Right. It's hard to sew without putting your hands in the middle.
I totally get that. Yes, ma'am. So again, she's just going across the top. So it's all one seam instead of multiples, stitching straight across and then pivoting to the other side. All while working around that little extra handle now that we have just that little bit, and scooching her way back down that final side. Home run, almost there. Coming around third. There we go. And we have the one side done. So not too complicated, just a little bit of playing.
Mm-hmm. So, oops, I didn't mean to hit the camera there. So, once you have done that to both sides, then we need to put the trim on the bottom. So we have trim that is going over the bottom, and it's going to go like right.
Is that double-sided?
Across here. Nope.
Okay. I was like,
this side definitely looks prettier.
All right, so this is a 13-inch cut, which is what the instructions said to do. All right, it appears that it is just slightly longer than it needs to be, which is actually easier than trying to make it work if it were too short.
Mm-hmm.
She is clipping on some Wonder Clips there, so everything stays nice and in place as she is going to sew. And then are we basically going to do a seam at the top and a seam at the bottom?
Yes, we are.
All right.
And so what I did on the back here is I was just I wanted the little lace edge to hang over just ever so slightly. So that's how I basically Wonder Clipped it in place. And then I'm going to stick this underneath my foot and I'm going to stitch. And what I think I'm going to do for this is I think I'm going to put my foot right on this particular spot, and I think I'm just going to shove my needle over to the left and do my best to stitch this straight.
Now remember, we are stitching over that nice bulk of where that handle turned up, so just be aware that you might have a nice bridge there. It's going to be hidden a little bit underneath, so she's coming up right on that handle. Nice and easy, just slow down a little bit. So again, you guys received, if you purchased your kit from us, the entire ribbon pack. And that entire ribbon pack actually retails for $14.95. So your $15 kit was kind of like that, but everything else was free, which is kind of a nice little bonus. And there is plenty of ribbon. So you have, again, you could repeat if you wanted to get another blank. You do have some other ribbons that you could choose. This is really, really pretty. That is something that I love, all of the ribbons that they have ever come out with. They just do a nice job. Their ribbon quality is very, very high. So definitely like.
So I have that stitched on. And then what you would do is then, of course, flip to the other side and you're going to stitch that as well. So you can move your needle position to the other side. So that's what I'm going to do here. Put that right down and then all the way over to the right. Yep. And then I got the edge of my foot aligned with the crocheted edge there. And I'm just going to stitch.
So again, we're just showing you on one end. You're going to repeat this on the other side with both the handles and the ribbon attachment. So there we go. 2 seams, one at the top, one at the bottom, and nicely attaching that to that base.
Yep. And then what we do is we're going to pretend that we have already done the same thing to both sides. We are going to, let's see, just double checking my instructions here because I basically just glanced at them. So we did the top stowing, we repeated, align, fold the canvas in half with Y's, right sides together, pin the sides, aligning the crocheted edge. That's all right. So that makes total sense. So now what we would do is
make sure you don't get your handles.
Yeah, make sure you don't get your handles. So what you would do is you're going to have your crocheted edge on the other side and your handle is going to be stitched down, but you're going to align the two edge pieces up together, and then you're going to stitch along both sides. And I think I'll baste this together really quickly just so that they can see
what it does.
So we'll just increase that length or baste it.
You said baste.
I did.
I'm doing what you said.
So the funny thing about this machine is this is kind of a thing that's unique to Brother and Baby Lock. When it goes into the basting stitch, oftentimes it goes to the left side.
Yeah.
So if that is you can always
that's what you want. Great. If not, you do have the ability, at least on these machines, to shift.
Yes.
Your needle position.
And so if you don't know what a basting stitch is just a really loose long stitch. This is just here so that we can show you what the bag would look like. So I'm gonna baste up both sides because we can pull that out really easy.
Yep.
And that part of your handle is going to be inside.
It would be sewn down on the other side. We just skipped that part for speed. Don't do that.
Right.
Do as I say, not as I do.
So we have the two sides basted in.
So on yours, you're not basting. You're going to actually regular seam sew those.
Yes. Then I'm like, Pin, why does it just not? Yeah, I just skipped ahead one step. So now it's telling me to sew it. So it's sew it and pin it. Then you're going to make sure that you back tack at the edges so that the seams don't pop open. And then you're going to press your seams open and you're going to turn your bag right side out. So
press and turn.
Press and turn. All right, and so here's what the one side of your bag is going to look like. So you've got your, it's open here down at the bottom, and you've got your cottontails here, and then we have corners up at the top. All right, and so now what you're going to do is you're going to press your seams open, turn the bag right side out, poke the top corners with a blunt tip or a square. We're going to use our turning tools. And then keeping the tote right side out with one side seam facing you, pull the tote sides away from each other until the corner folds out into an angle. So we are basically going to, I wonder if this will be easier to do underneath that camera.
Probably.
Do you get that?
I do.
Okay. So I'm going to say that again.
We're doing it on this side though.
Yes. Okay. And I lost your camera.
Did it go to sleep? I die? It might have turned itself off. Did I die? It turned off. I wonder if I'm dead. I didn't plug it in today.
Ah.
I hadn't even used it.
Right. All right. Do you want to come back over here?
Maybe.
All right.
Sorry.
That's okay. So essentially what we're going to do is, so we still have the tote, the right side out. All right. So we still have the tote right side out, and
you want me to back your camera up so that you have a bigger frame?
Maybe I do it on the big camera. Oh, what a concept.
Hello.
So here's our bag, right? you're not going to have a handle hanging down because you already stitched that up. So
You
ignore
did it
that
right.
spot. That's right. It's going to look like this side here. So now you're going to go up to your 2 corners. All right. And you are going to fold this out and flat. All right. So you've got a seam at the top. So if you're not sure, you can kind of press that. And then you're going to match your side seam here to this top seam. So you're going to end up with a little point that looks like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to mark down 2 3/4 of an edge from the tip to the angle. So measure 2 3/4 edges down, and you're going to draw a line. Yep, 2 3/4 inches.
Inches.
Yes. And then you're going to sew on that fold.
Yep.
And then you're going to do the same thing to the other side.
So that seam is going to run from here
Mm-hmm.
to here.
Yep. And so you're going to end
So
up
you're
with
going to end up with a box.
Yes.
All right. So basically we're making corners instead of having just a flat bag.
Mm-hmm.
We're making corners. So this is basically boxing corners, if you know what that means.
Yep.
So when you have that 2 3/4 inches down, and then you're going to sew from here to here.
Yep.
2 3/4 down.
We're not going to sew
From that
ours
center point.
because,
Yeah, we got more work to do
Oh,
before
look.
we sew. Oh, that's awesome.
right. So 2 3/4.
All right. So sew a line literally, gosh dang it, from
Right.
here to here. So it's going to go whoop, and then you're going to repeat on the other side, and it's going to go whoop, just like that.
Yep.
And then you're going to tuck those in.
Yeah, and then you're going to touch. You're going to tuck everything in, and then that's going to become the bottom of your bag. And so we're going to tuck it in.
To that 6-inch fold line that I marked with the red line. Oh, look at that. Guess we'll remeasure that.
Yeah.
one, huh?
So then it's going to get tucked in. And then you're going to have your little basket
Or busket.
or busket. Yep. And that's it.
It's actually not as hard as it sounds. It's really hard without it completed to be able to show you the parts without having those parts on there. But it's actually really cute.
I think if I pin this.
It'll look a little bit right.
Yep.
More right.
Yeah, more right.
More right.
We're trying to be super helpful to each other.
Yes.
There you go.
Sometimes team sewing isn't as great.
Yep. There you go. And then you have your basket.
So, Easter grass and
Yeah.
candies and eggs.
It'll
and
be really
oh
cute.
my.
Yep.
It is actually quite sharp.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how it all came together.
Yep.
So
It's really cute.
it is
It did
actually
really
super cute.
Yes.
I could totally put this on the front counter here
I know.
and
We
put
could.
candy in it. And
We
then
should.
every time I walk by, I can eat some.
Right.
Cause
Yep.
yeah,
We should finish this one and do that.
we should totally do that. No grass necessary because that just makes it harder to find the candy.
That's right. There'll be less candy in
So this is the adorable busket. This is the side that we have actually completed. So you can see that you have the trim and then the handle that's sewn in there. And we just have just a little bit of sewing to do over here.
Yep.
Before we finish that. That is really interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, perfect, right? Just like we all want it. Very, very
so
cute. Very, very cute. So that is March, fill in the blank. And pretty straightforward, actually. The instructions are very, very good. So if you've not boxed corners before, don't freak out. They're very well, they appear to be very well written as I'm glancing.
Yeah. You can
over
always
them.
pin on that line and then tuck your center in and make sure that it actually works out the way that you want before you actually
So
sew and cut or don't cut.
or don't
She
cut.
doesn't cut. She actually just has you tuck.
Has them tuck in there because
Mhm.
it's the bottom of the basket. So who cares, right?
Who cares?
It's the hidden chocolate for later.
That's right.
It's like pennies in the bottom of a wallet that fall underneath something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just like that. So I think it's really
Yeah. It came out very, very cute.
very, very adorable.
That's it.
I don't think we have anything else for you. So if anyone has any questions,
lost you at the end. The bag was off camera.
That's because I was off camera.
Right.
So
So again, you're just going to follow the directions.
yes,
Essentially.
essentially. The directions are very very clear, and basically you're boxing corners. So the bottom of the bag, which was originally the tops of
Mhm.
the bag, it's just box at the. I'm so off camera
I know,
today.
right?
Box at the top and then tuck in,
Yep.
and that's what makes it the
Here's
bucket.
your top. You're going to just make your box corners. Box corners basically just mean that you have you've got
A center.
Yeah, a
that you
center
are
to
pulling
this
out to.
stitching line.
Yep.
Fold, stitch, draw
Which
line.
again, we didn't use our turning tool, so this isn't quite the sharp point
Right.
that you would see but you know,
So
trying
you
to keep it
do that
shorter
to
for you
both
guys.
pieces. And then once you're done, you just tuck it in.
Tuck it
and
in.
you know where to tuck in because you have that original
Line
Yes, that
that you
original line.
used to sew the handles to.
Yep, that you drew.
And you can go from there.
And then it tucks in and becomes the bottom, of the bag.
that bag.
And then you have your little basket. And here, this is our finished size. Side.
It's the finished size as well.
Yes.
So that's not inaccurate.
Yep.
So you're most welcome, Miss Alice.
Yes. So hopefully
So-
that helps.
I think it's actually a little bit easier than I was like, holy crow, we're gonna flip this whole thing inside out and upside down, and it really wasn't complicated at all.
No.
Very straightforward.
Yeah, I
So
wasn't really sure how they were going to
how
do
it was
the.
going to turn into that.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was at. So
Mhm.
yes,
I was like envisioning cutting the bag and doing like bag
that's exactly
origami.
that's exactly what I was thinking. So actually very straightforward and adorable. So
Yeah, super cute.
I have not removed that water soluble, so the fuzz will be even fuzzier,
Yes.
which even cuter.
Yes. So and
So-
we'll have some Easter candy in there.
Well,
So
of course
when
we
you
will.
come to visit us, we'll have
there
that.
might already be some in my bag.
Yeah, we'll have that on the counter.
Of course.
And,
then we have the whole. I don't know how I can sanitize individual pieces. But
You're just gonna have to
either
take your own
want
chance.
it or don't want
That's
it.
right. You must use hand sanitizer before
dipping.
you reach in the bag. So pre-sanitize.
Pre-sanitize. That's absolutely right.
Oh,
All right, guys. So you have a wonderful afternoon. Happy sewing,
Yes.
sewing and stitching, because there's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But very cute. Enjoy. You
Thank
guys
you.
have a great day.
Bye. Thanks
Bye.
for joining us.